Hello everyone, Arc3 here, and in today's video, we'll go through the different team compositions you can use to win your 3v3 GAC battles. I know that we just throw out random teams around this time because it's not fun, and the team compositions for 3v3 are not at 100%, so I'm going to make your life easier starting with these first three teams, Wampa, Nest, and of course your JMK team. So we all know Wampa can of course solo rebels and of course certain team compositions because of his Omicron ability. Wait, it's just loading there. Omicron ability Howling Beast, where in Grand Arenas, whenever he's alone, he'll be getting 100% tenacity and of course a lot of bonus benefits when it comes to his defense, max health, max protection, and of course his offense. The reason why I want Wampa as the first, because he's like a team saver actually whenever there's like a rebel team in defense or a very easy team you can defeat. You can actually just use Wampa and then get some free banners. And the same goes with Nest. Nest actually can solo teams as long as she is like relic up and of course modded properly. Now going to JMK. JMK here is just like not at his full strength, of course, but he can actually just defeat certain galactic legends where he's strong against, maybe against C or Lord Vader, and of course maybe at some instances Jabba the Hutt, but that has always been, I guess in my case, 50-50 depending on who's on defense and of course who I want to use against Jabba. Moving on would be First Order. Now for this team, this is actually mainly used for offense or defense depending on the situation you are in. Of course, SLKR would be your leader. And Kylo Ren Unmasked is here to tank up damage, but you can actually substitute him for Zombie, like the Night Sister Zombie, and of course Daka in replace of General Hux, depending of course on the situation. Ideally, if you want to use this on defense, then of course use Night Sister Zombie and Daka. But for offense, maybe instead of Kylo Ren Unmasked, if you need him somewhere else, you can place Sith Trooper here along with General Hux and of course SLKR. Moving on to the next would be Starkiller. Of course, this is your standard Starkiller team. So I use this team to defeat SLKRs on defense, JMLs on defense, and of course in a recent video from Zereth, you can actually just use this team to defeat Rey. Now, link to that description down below if you want to see Starkiller defeating Rey in 3v3 so that you have like an additional team flex, of course, when it comes to defeating Galactic Legends in 3v3. Now for the next team, this is actually a trip-up team. Not a lot of people use this on defense. I actually just encountered this recently. This is actually Count Dooku, Wat Tambor, and Newt Gunray on defense. The tricky part here is actually defeating Count Dooku and Newt Gunray. Because Wat Tambor would be the first one to move, and he will be giving, I think, the Blast Tech mod to Count Dooku, so he'll be moving fast, gaining a lot of turn meter, and of course counter-attacking a lot. So Newt Gunray, of course, will be spreading extortion around, giving the Separatist team here more speed whenever extortion is triggered, and then he'll be always in hiding once you defeat him. So you'll be needing a isolate team such as Streya or decent team to defeat this. So I actually lost 3 battles against this one, simply because I underestimated him. So I'm putting this out there so that everyone watching this video, in case you encounter this team, don't underestimate it. Next would be your Sith Empire teams. There are actually 2 variants I am proposing. So one for offense, one for defense. So for your offensive capabilities, it would be Darth Revan, Darth Malak, and of course Bastila Shan Fallen. And then for defense, you can place Darth Malgus on defense. If you don't want to use him on offense, Sith Marauder and HK-47, you can actually swap this around where Darth Malgus would be the leader, and then Darth Malak and Bastila Shan Fallen for offense. Darth Revan can be placed on defense just to like trip up people. Moving on to the 501st, of course, either offense or defense. It would always be Gas, Rex, and Fibes. Then we have the Sith Trio. Of course, no explanations here needed. Darth Treya will be the one isolating someone so that it will be a 2v3 situation now. Darth Sion to tank. And of course, Darth Nihilus would be reducing cooldowns so that eventually you can annihilate someone. So 501st and Sith Trio can be flexed as offense or defense. And again, their goal is of course to gain as much banners as possible in offense and to take away banners from the opponents on defense. So another separatist team would be Newt Gunray, B1 and Jango Fett. Again, another defensive team to be placed out there just to remove banners from the enemy. People sometimes underestimate this team where Newt Gunray and then B1 Battle Droid would be, I guess, on stealth, and then Jango Fett would be out there with damage immunity. Of course, you'll be aiming for Jango Fett, which would be leaving Newt Gunray and B1 Battle Droid to do their own thing. Eventually, you will realize that they're already whittling down your protection, health, and then you haven't done anything to them because you've been hitting Jango Fett with damage immunity. That is actually the point of this team, to either time out or remove banners as well from your opponent. In the dredges, a bit Separatist 3. Again, this is the third Separatist team because in fact Separatist these days in the current meta isn't really used much on offense. Mainly they're used on defense because there are already better teams out there that you can use to gain as much banners as possible. So unfortunately for Grievous, B2 and Magna Guard, they're on defense duty, and similar to the other Separatist teams, they're just there to like either soak up or take away a team from the enemy so that one less like team that they can use to gain as much banners as possible. So same concept as Geos, Old Republic team. This is already a standard team. For JKR, this is used more on offense. There are different team compositions here. In fact, you can substitute Bastila for JKL or a different Jedi, and depending on the situation, you can use this on offense or defense. It's actually another flex team. Again, depending on your situation, JKR is still actually a viable team. And then lastly, my Mando squad. So it's of course Maul, Mandalorian, and then Canderos Ordo. Ideally, you want to use the Mandalorian on offense, but since I still do not have my Mando's geared up, so he's on defense duty. Not ideal, but this team can take away as much banners as possible on defense, as long as they're of course modded properly. But I have to change this team composition in the future so that they are more efficient, and then I can use Mando here on offense. So that's all of my 3v3 teams that you can use for both offense, defense, and flex. I hope that these teams I presented can help you this GAC season. And of course, if this video was helpful to you, please force crush that like button. And if you want to follow my weekly swgoh videos and other Star Wars gaming content, please do subscribe because it will help the channel. And of course, you won't miss any of those videos. And with that, my friends, fellow swgoh players, may the force be with you and have a great day.